Thanks, Jess. Good evening, everyone. My name is Malcolm, and I am an addict. Thank you for asking me to share. My mind tells me I've got nothing to bring to this room. I look around, and I feel like, I believe every CA meeting is a celebration of recovery. This is a celebration of recovery. I think if you sat in this room tonight, you've got a day, there's a good chance you're going to get another day clean under your belt, and that's something to celebrate. And if you sat in this room tonight and you have used, you know what I mean, and the fact that you're here in this room means you've got something to celebrate, and and even if you ain't celebrating now, I am. Do you know what I mean? That kind of gives me hope as well. I still get really nervous sharing. I haven't done a share for a little while, and I get uncomfortable. But that's all right. You know why am I here? I'm here because I'm not all there. Right? And what I mean by that is because my mind doesn't work like normal people, and you can probably relate to that. There's something in my mind that doesn't connect like normal people's thought processes do, and I seek a way out. I seek relief from the pain of life, and we talked about outside, life is painful. Pain's inevitable, but as we know, misery is optional, and we know it because it tells us that in our literature. About now I'd be picking the book up and start waving it around, but we haven't got one here. That I'm being recorded and I've been asked not to swear, so I'll try my best not to. I've got a little story about this actually, and I'll keep it brief. Last time I shared at this meeting, we was in Ringwood, and that was about five years ago, something like that. It was a while ago, man. And I've done this share, never been recorded before. It was recorded. The worst share I've ever done, right? My mates come out, and Rob, and he to this day he takes the piss out of me. He says, I'm going to do a share. He says, don't do another Ringwood. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, so there we go. And then like 3 years later, a couple of years ago, I'm in a meeting in a different fellowship. I shared back from the floor, and someone approached me afterwards and said, I've heard your share on XA speakers. And I was like, oh God, we've all got our cross to bear, love. And she said, you know what, I listen to it about at least once a week. She said it's one of the best shares I've ever heard. So you never know, do you? It's like where your message is going to go and who it may or may not help. I'm also here because I used to take drugs. I used to take drugs and I used to drink a lot of alcohol. Like I say, they supplied me with the relief I was just talking about, the relief that allowed me to kind of get away from life, allowed me to get away from my mind. But I wasn't really aware of that at the time. All I know is that I loved taking drugs and alcohol. I loved what they'd done for me. I loved the effect produced, and I loved the lifestyle that went with them. And I'd done it for quite a few years, probably 2.5 decades. And in the beginning, like I say, it was good. But pretty quickly, I started to suffer consequences. I was in prison at the age of 14. And when I started, I'm an old smackhead, right, and an old crackhead, and an old alky, and so I went through like a certain like it all seemed like we all went through that, like stepping stones of the drugs we took, because it's just what come up. It was just what we took. So I started glue sniffing at a very young age, drinking alcohol. I was kicked out of school and kicked out of the house when I was kind of day before my 16th birthday, I think, something like that. And I went, but then I went to Stonehenge within a fortnight, and I went there a boy, and I come back a man and a bona fide drug dealer, and my life took off. I was introduced intravenous drug using at the time with speed, and I'd done that for about a decade, and then it come kind of come the ease and the acid and the ease and you know, and then it was the cocaine, and then it was like the speed, the cocaine, the heroin, and then crack, and then benzos, and then at the end I'm taking a hypno for fun, and you know, buying Menorah off the streets, and I don't know if anyone knows what that is. It's an antipsychotic drug. It seems, but so all that done was to quiet my mind down, and because I couldn't face being up here. You know, I kind of seem to collect drug addictions, and it's not everyone's story, and it doesn't make me any better or worse. You know, it doesn't make me any more chronic than anyone else in the room. We like that word, right? So, you know, and to the point where when I was like, you know, like I said, I started off glue sniffing and shooting speed. When I was about 21, I remember I was at Glastonbury rolling around, and I was a heroin addicted speed freak, and I had a bag of glue in one hand and a litre of vodka in the other, and my mates were kind of going, "Are you all right?" And I'm saying, "Well, I'm not sure." Yeah, we don't think you are, you know. It's you know, you're not well. It's like, you know, and it's kind of because I knew there was something wrong. I knew, you know, and I knew back then when I was younger, you know, the first thing I picked up was something out of a shop because it changed the way I felt, and I didn't know that at the time. But you know, when I was shoplifting, I was in the moment. I wasn't in fear of yesterday, I mean, like resentful of yesterday and fear of tomorrow. I was in that moment. And when I look at my drug using, you know, when I was like locked in the bedroom, you know, with the kids running amok in the house, and you know, and I'm getting my hit together, I'm there in the moment, I'm getting that hit together, nothing else matters. There's nothing before me, there's nothing after me, and I'm just in the moment, and I felt comfortable there. And I felt, you know, obviously the thing with, you know, drugs, that they don't last, and it's almost like I wanted to stop using a long time before I ever managed to. Do you know what I mean? The good days was over long before, and you know, this stuff. And when I tried to stop, I found I couldn't. That's when the trouble started, if you like. I mean, the consequences come and went. And I was a drug dealer, and I did have some successes. You know, there was times when I was collecting a kilo of brown and a 9 bar of white off of a scouser on Bournemouth train station. But, you know, most of the time I sold moody 10-pound bags to people who stole coffee and bacon for a living. There was nothing spectacular about my drug using. You know, I was you know, quite lost as a person. I was chaotic, I was unpredictable, often violent. I was a bully, and I wasn't particularly a nice person to be around. You know, I didn't, and what that, and you know, and when I look in the mirror, it's almost like I knew somewhere inside me I didn't want to be that person. I knew that I wasn't really that person. I knew that you know, that there wasn't a bad, you know, that I was a bad man. I was a road man, and you know, and I knew, you know, inside myself that that's not what I wanted, but I couldn't stop. Do you know what I mean? I crossed over some kind of invisible line, and you know, that meant that I was powerless over my drugs using. Drugs come before everything in my life. And I mean everything, and that, you know, so what happened to me was I ended up going into a treatment centre. I was there for a while, and I got clean for the first time in my life, and I was clean for a little while, but I was unruly and dishonest. I was a rebellion dog. I didn't like the word God. And I didn't understand the steps. I didn't understand what was wrong with me. And there was where I got clean. there was two groups of people, and there was this one big group saying, just don't use and keep coming back. And it's the first one that does the damage. And there's this other small little group going, yeah, that's probably not enough for you, son. What you need to do is you need to get a sponsor. You need to go through the steps. You need to get a home group, and you need to. And I kind of faded out there, you know, blah 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 blah. Just like, oh no, so, you know, it just sounded like it was a tall order. Like literally said, it was a tall order, and I had an aversion to responsibility. And now today I know I had that aversion because I couldn't handle responsibility. I didn't know how to live life on life terms. It wasn't in me. And you know, so what I've done is I joined the big group. And what I found out is it wasn't the first one that does the damage. It's having no mental defence against the thought to take the first one. That's what does the damage. And I found out to my detriment, because I thought if I just go to meetings and just don't use, I was going to be all right. And what I found out at the meeting is just a room. We just sat in a room chatting and stuff. This is an action programme. This is just a chair. If this chair was going to keep me clean, I would have stolen it a long time ago. In fact, if you wanted a chair, I'd be the person to come and see. I'd do you 2 for 1. You know. And so what happened to me is, you know, I left the meeting one night just to show the meeting makers don't make it, and I was on my way home and I went into a news agency to get some tobacco and come out with a bottle of wine. And to cut a long story short, you know, I was off and running, and 18 months later I managed to come back in and went to a meeting and got myself a sponsor. And again, you know, within a fortnight, he sacked me. And, you know, people kind of go, oh, sacked by his sponsor. You know, and I've got to say that it's the most loving thing anyone's ever done for me, because, you know, when I went home that night, I put my head in my hands and I cried, and I knew 2 things. I knew my using was over, and I knew I was going to use again. So I went back and got myself another sponsor. And I believe, you know, I surrendered to that man, and he took me through the steps. And I haven't seriously considered using for just over 19 years now. And it's like, how have I done that? Well, I haven't done that, have I? Do you know what I mean? The power of God in this program's done that. What I did have to do is I had to put some action in one day at a time. You know, and that action is, you know, I still put that action in today. You know, I'm not sat up here recovered. I don't feel particularly recovered today, I've got to tell you. But what I haven't done today is I haven't thought of using today. And not only have I haven't thought of using, I haven't thought of not using. Right? So there that is. You know, and that was quite big for me, because quite a long time I used to think about not using quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? And now that stuff's just left me. It's gone. And you know, the obsession to use has never returned. And when I'm talking about the obsession to use, have I thought about using? Yeah, I have. Yeah, of course I have. I'm an addict. But you know, I recoil from that stuff. What I'm talking about is the obsession to use. The obsession that drove me for over 2 decades, that all I could think of is getting and using. Nothing else mattered. Everything fell by the wayside. It come before everything. It come before my children, my loved ones, my partners, any jobs, my home, my cars, my well-being, you know, my health. It come before, and my liberty. It come before everything I had to use, and that's just gone. You know, the strength of that. You know, and I think about it now. You know, when my blood is itching and I feel like I can't breathe. I've got to have something, and it's just gone, and it's never returned. But I do know for a fact that if you know, all I've got to do is nothing. And it'll return. The fact that I don't want to use means nothing. If I lean on the fact that I don't want to use, I forget why I'm here in the first place. Because I didn't want to use for a long time, and I couldn't not. Do you know what I mean? This is an action program, and it's the actions that give me that defence. You know, and that defence isn't just against the first one. That defence is against life's ills, because life can be. Oh, I nearly swore then. But life can be challenging. Life can be difficult. Do you know what I mean? And I need a defence against that as well. So it's not just a defence against the first one. You know, I'm up against my mind. You know, and the book talks about a vision for you, and I think it's really important. You know that you know, it's important for me. I mean, I work a lot with gratitude, and I feel like that really helps me. You know, what do I do? You know, I get up in the morning, I hit my knees. This morning I woke up late. I don't normally set my alarm, right? Because I don't need to. And I woke up this morning, I'd overslept about half an hour, and I had to be somewhere. There's nothing more important than my daily stuff. Nothing more important than that. Do you know what I mean? And so I hit my knees. I read my gratitude list back. I read some other literature, read some other people's lists, and then I spent 18 minutes in meditation. There's nothing more. I'm thinking, oh, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for meditation. I've got life to get on with. You know, the life that CA gave me. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, if I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't have a life. Because the obsession will return. Like I say, all I've got to do is nothing. The obsession to use will return. I've experienced that. You know, so I think it's I need, like, for myself, I think it's really important to talk about a vision for you, and it's really important for that. Because, you know, I always remember my mum kind of going, oh, I believe it when I see it. That was one of her mantras. I'm going to do this, Mum. Yeah, I believe it when I see it. I believe it when I see it. And what I find with this program, you know, that, I'm not saying that's not true, but for me, that's back to front. So I mean, that belongs in the Newtonian world that we live in, right? Well, I think the book's based on a quantum physical kind of angle. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not so much as I believe it when I see it. It's more like I see it when I believe it. So for me, it's like talk about a vision. The book talks about having a vision for you. So this is like, if I'm not held by a vision of the future, I'm going to be caught up in the old memories of the past. So all I'm going to do is relive my old patterns of behaviour in my old life. Do you know what I mean? This is about change. You know, I need to stop drinking and using, and the only other thing I've got to change is everything, right? And it was like I said, how would you do that? When my mum used to go, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, boy? And I'm going, I don't know. And when my sponsor when I went to my sponsor, you know, and I said that, you know, all I want to know is it possible to be happy and clean? Because that wasn't in my remit. I didn't believe that. I'd never experienced that. And he said, yeah, it is. And it's like, well, how is that going to come about? How is that going to come about? It's going to come about by working the 12 steps in your life. And like I said, I've worked the 12 steps, and for most part, you know, I live a life of sane and happy usefulness. You know what? See, I'm not a well man, right? There's people in this room who know that, right? And I make mistakes, and I've made some blinders in my time, right? Do you know what I mean? And you know, but I hold my hands up to that stuff now. I'm not blinded by the fact. I'm not like sat up here on some moral high ground wagging my finger telling you, you know, oh, don't take drugs. You know what I mean? I'm here. It's not like because I know better. Because I'm here because I don't want to see people burn. Do you know what I mean? That's why I love this program so much, because we got a chance to help other people. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, I'm not a well man. I wake up quite ill most mornings, and it's all right because you know, like I say, I'll put my stuff first. So then what happens, like what happened to me this morning, when that happened, and I'm like cursing myself as a weakling because I've overslept. Yeah. Yeah. You see, I can be so hard on myself. No one can be as hard on me as as I can on myself. And I think I know you might be able to relate to that. And that. So I do my stuff, and I have a complete change of thought and attitude right there and then. My spirit is awakened. I get connected, and my spirit is awakened. And then what happens to me is I grow these wings and float out the door. No, I don't, right? As I get up and I get on with my day, and it just allows me to get on with my day and look people in the eye and stand up straight and have some courage to move through any fear that I may or may not encounter. Most of the thing it gives me is a bit of self-honesty, because I'm a liar and I'm a cheat. And the person I lie to mostly is me. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I've got this mind, and it lies to me constantly. And the trouble is, when I'm in that space, so you can't see the label from inside the jar. So when I'm in it, I don't know. I don't even know. And this is why I need you people so much. This is why I need these people around me, because it's like, look, see, you they say you can't pick your family, right? You're my family, right? So, but like, look, so, and it's like, because I've got the people around me who aren't afraid to tell me the truth about myself, who aren't afraid to kind of go, hang on a minute, mate. Maybe you want to look at that from an entirely different angle. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of what saved my ass quite a lot. Okay, ages. But I don't know how I'm going to fill that up. I am sponsored. I speak to my sponsor today. He gave me some direction. I didn't want to take it. I did, and that's all right. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, there's my willingness. It's not compliance. My willingness is kicking and screaming at times, and it's not compliance, and that's all right. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that's where I'll benefit most when I'm up against myself. I'm privileged enough to be able to sponsor people, and there's nothing greater than that. To see people coming in, broken, and going through this process of the steps, and seeing the light come on in their eyes, and seeing them rebuild their lives or build their lives. Because if you're anything like me, when I come in, it's like I was alive, but I didn't have a life. Not like I look at now, my life now. I was dragging my coffin around. It was bleak, and it ain't like that now. And it's not, and I'm not talking about, skipping through the daisies all the time, because it ain't. Life, like I say, life can be difficult, but it's all right, because it's going to be all right, because I know it's going to be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end. I'm relatively happy, joyous and free most of the time. I've had, some difficulties, like we all do. I have some difficulties, do you know what I mean? And that's all right as well. But I've also achieved some, some beautiful things, since I've been clean. I was, when I come in, most of you know my story about my children, and it's like such a it's a beautiful thing when I come in. Do you know what I mean? That when I was a few months clean, I got a phone call saying that I need to come and look after my own kids, and that's what I went and done. There are 3 of them, and 2 of the old ones are seeing stuff kids shouldn't see, and and a year later, like I say, when I went back, when I got clean again, I went back through treatment, and I got booted out. And a year later, when I was like a year clean, I got a phone call from the social services in Norwich saying, we've just taken a baby into care, and they say it's yours, So within like a month, I'd gone to Norwich with 3 children. I had a DNA test, it was mine. Gone to Norwich with 3 children, come home with 4, and and then I was a single parent with 4 children, and you know, and I've kind of they've been with me all that time, and I've now got an 18-year-old daughter. Just me and her left at home. I didn't do that all by myself, you know. I had some help with the most beautiful people with that, which I'm forever grateful. And because of the help with them and with my guidance, I don't know, but they're lovely kids, really beautiful, well-rounded, big hearts, just lovely children. And like I say, I've got an 18-year-old at home who's never seen me drink or use. My time's running out. In the car on the way over here, I had something really amazing, like as a last, like, I can't even think of the word that it's got me. I had this last one, I thought, right, I'm just going to chuck that in right at the end. And everyone will be blown away. But I've forgotten what it was. But it's all right, I'll remember it in the car on the way home. You know what? You know, that everything, what I found is everything you want downstream. I let go of the oars, and life can be difficult, but I know that, you know, God didn't kick me to death. God didn't save me from drowning to kick me to death on the beach. And thanks for letting me share.
Thank you.